All right, we're going to go on to 5.1, day 1, it says, but this is day 2. All right, day 2. And we're going to talk about is simulation. All right, simulation. Now, if you're wondering what is a simulation is an imitation of a chance behavior based on a model that accurately reflects the situation. Example, we might use a dice, coin flip, a random number generator, all to model accurately that reflects the situation of a chance behavior. And so what is a simulation process? Similar to when you do an experiment or when you do a simple random sample or sampling method, there is some process you have to have. The first thing is you want to first describe, we'll call that number 1, describe how the chance device imitates the situation. So using dice, coin flips, random number generator, putting little slips of paper into a hat, whatever the case may be, describe how this chance behavior imitates the situation. Next, you want to make sure that you state that you're recording results many times, all right? Many times. Okay, so as you do that, whatever you're recording, and then we're going to do this simulation many, many times to record the results because we want to make sure we have many trials, many trials, so we can get to that theoretical probability, which we know is the law of large numbers. So that last thing is, the third thing is use the results to answer the question. All right, so if there's a question to be answered, we want to use those results to answer the question. All right, so let's pick out an example here. And in this case, we have a basketball announcer suggests that a certain player is streaky shooter. All right, he's a streaky shooter. All right, that is, the announcer believes that if the player makes a shot, the player is more likely to make the next shot. As evidence, the announcer points to a recent game where the player took 30 shots and he had a streak of 10 made shots in a row. Is this convincing evidence of a streaky shooting by the player? All right, assume that this player makes 50% of the shots and that the results of the shot don't depend on the previous shot. All right, so that means that it is independent. So if he was streaky, that means that, yeah, he probably had a better chance of making it because he made so many in a row. So let's find out if that is true. Now, first off, we're going to describe how you will carry out a simulation, the probability of 50% shooting who makes 30 shots in a row. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually, how can you get 50%? Well, this is generally by flipping a fair coin. So we're going to flip a coin. All right, we're going to flip a coin here. All right, that is going to be what we're using. And so right here, that is where we're going to be describe how the device we're using. In this case, the device we're using is flipping a coin. So this is our device. We're going to state how we're going to do this. So we're going to flip a coin. All right, if you want to put in a fair coin, just so we know, a fair coin 30 times. Okay, where we're just going to say that we'll say heads is made shot, and then tails is a missed shot. Okay, so we're going to flip a coin 30 times, head is a made shot and tail, and then we're going to record the longest, all right, run, or if you want to say streak, of made shots in 30 attempts. Okay, so we're going to flip 30 times. We're going to record what was the longest run, longest stretch of made shots, all right, or run or streak of made shots in 30 attempts. Okay, this goes back to saying right here, we're going to restart many times. So we're going to do that 30 times to do that. And then we're going to do this many times. All right, we're going to do this many times. All right, so down here, we did this flipping a coin 30 times, and there was a dot plot. We did 50 simulations of this. So this was our simulation. All right, flipping the coin 30 times, recording how many times we got heads, all right, and record the longest streak. So the question right here is explain what the two dots at this means, all right? So essentially, each one of these dots represents a trial, okay? And at 9, this represents that what we find out there was two trials where the longest streak of made shots out of 30, remember it was out of 30, all right, was 9, all right? So two trials, so these were two trials where the longest streak of made shots out of 30 was 9. That's what it is, and that's what we're going to say in context, all right, because our simulation represents shots in a basketball out of 30 that were made. Now, looking over here, what conclusion would we draw about whether this player was streaky? So now we're going to actually go back to our little thing. So we recorded many times. That was on the dot plot where we did that simulation many times. And then we use the results to answer the question. So from our simulation down here, we realized that, well, how many times did he make, all right, 10 shots? Well, that was 1 out of 10. All right, so 1 out of 50. All right, 1 out of 50 times. Well, that's not very high percentage. If we went to our calculators, all right, we realize that's actually a very low percentage. And so since 1 out of 50 is a small percentage, we would say this is not likely to occur. All right, because honestly, after all these long runs, we expect that all our values to be right around 5. Okay, so yeah, streaks of 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you're a 50, 2/3 of the longest streak, made shot 3 out of 10, from, I should add this, from a 50%, all right, shooter. All right, because that's from a 50% shooter, and that's where this is coming from. All right. And so 1 out of 50 is a small percentage, would say this is not likely to occur. So there is evidence that he is streaky. All right, so maybe there is evidence. Making 10 in a row, very unlikely to occur. And so maybe he is a streaky shooter. He was getting better as he was keep on making 10 shots in a row. He was getting better from that. I don't know. All right, but we have evidence for it, and that's what we know. Okay, and so going through this again, explain what the two dots here represent, kind of working backwards again. These are two trials right here, where the longest streak of made shots out of 30 was 9 from a 50% shooter. All right, because that's what it was. When we did our simulation, we using a 50% shooter, we were going to say, okay, what are the chances of him making 10 shots or more? So we're going to flip a fair coin 10 times. Heads is made and tails missed out, and record the longest run of 10 streaks, do as many times. And I probably should add this, and determine the chances of the shooter making 10 or more shots in a row. And that goes back to our previous thing of how we do describe a simulation. Describe how chance behavior is. That's where we flip the coin, record the results many times, and then use that to answer the question. And so that's where we use to answer the question. So the 1, all right, the 2, and the 3. All right. I hope this helps you out. Yeah, and good luck and God bless in the rest of your problems.